Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our board meeting tonight. We have a great celebration tonight. First, let's start off with the Pledge of Allegiance. And Andy, would you please lead us? Amanda, will you call the roll?
Trustee Messick?
Here.
Trustee Rocco?
Here.
Trustee Sheehan?
Here.
Trustee Casera?
Here.
Trustee Lautner?
Here.
Trustee Zora?
Here.
Quorum is present.
Thank you, Amanda. Next up is the installation and oath of newly elected officials. Amanda, if you would do the honors.
Raise your right hand. Do you, Scott Messick, having been duly elected to the office of Village Trustee in the Village of LaGrange Park in the state of Illinois, do solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States of America, the Constitution of the state of Illinois, and you will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of LaGrange Park Village Trustee to the best of your ability? If so, say you do. Do you, Patricia Rocco, having been duly elected to the office of Village Trustee in the Village of LaGrange Park in the state of Illinois, do solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States of America and the Constitution of the state of Illinois, and you will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of LaGrange Park Village Trustee to the best of your ability? You, Robert Lautner, having been duly elected to the office of Village Trustee in the Village of LaGrange Park in the state of Illinois, do solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States of America and the Constitution of the state of Illinois, and you will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of LaGrange Park Village Trustee to the best of your ability?
Okay, next on the agenda is the swearing in of Deanne Carello as Deputy Village Clerk. Amanda, will you do the roll, please? The honor, I mean. Deanne. Thank you.
Raise your right hand. Do you, Deanne Carlo, having been duly appointed to the office of Deputy Village Clerk in the Village of LaGrange Park in the state of Illinois, do solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States of America and the Constitution of the state of Illinois, and you will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of LaGrange Park Deputy Village Clerk to the best of your ability?
Congratulations, Deanne. Now the shining moment. Presentation to Executive Secretary Andy Bagley. Julia?
The board. I have the privilege this evening to talk for a little bit about Andrea Bagley, our Executive Secretary and Deputy Village Clerk, who is retiring from the village after 11 years of service with this village. During this presentation, if I could, Mr. President, come down here.
Sure.
Emily, would you like to come up here as well? all of us in this room engaged in some festivities before the cameras rolled. We had a cake and coffee reception for all of our employees that were receiving service awards, and also to recognize Andy's retirement. Now is the more formal portion of the presentation, so I'd like to take a few moments to talk a little bit about Andy Bagley. Her name is Andrea, but we all call her Andy. We all know and love her well as Andy. So, giving a little bit of background about Andy, she came to us in February 2004. She was one of 400 applications that came in for that job, which is unbelievable. So how lucky were we to get her and recognize that she was the one for us that would help support us with all of our administrative duties, all of our executive duties for the board. It has truly been a joy to work with you, Andy. Andy brought to the position extensive and diverse experience. She was, with at least 2 companies, an office manager. She was an executive assistant. She was a senior services coordinator for a bank. She was a bank manager. She had various and sundry other positions as well throughout her career. She worked for many years, and as she noted to us on several occasions, this is going to be a welcome experience in retirement because she has worked for so many years throughout her lifetime. And it's really nice to see that she will take this time and be able to spend more time with her family and helping with her daughter Amy and her grandkids, and spending more time with her husband Dan and the boys as well. So it's very nice that this is all coming your way, Andy. I wanted to spend just a little bit of time talking about what Andy did while she was here, because I think it's important to understand the type of work that she did. Andy was very active with a network of municipal assistants with all municipalities in the northeastern Illinois area. She improved the tracking of records and record keeping. She posted records on the website, organized the vault. That's the area we keep all the documents in our village. She made sure that we were compliant with the Open Meetings Act and the Freedom of Information Act requests. She ensured that the clerk's duties were streamlined and complete. She spearheaded the fall cleanup day. She managed the contracts and managed the operations of the copiers of the village and their codes. She tracked invoices and paid invoices. She organized all the village communications and complaints that we received. She provided coordination to absentee voting and wrote up some instructions to make sure the folks that were here knew how to handle that. She coordinated the safety inspection form. She was a member and secretary of the Employee Safety Committee. She was, I think, the only permanent member of the Employee Safety Committee. She updated village contacts. She wrote articles for the Rose Clippings. She writes the community section of the e-briefs, and sometimes she wrote the whole thing. She compiled and edited the village board handbook. She actually researched and selected the carpeting and the colors of the walls in this building. She did extensive research on engineering firms. She received and evaluated mobile phone plans, and she managed the contracts. She was always looking for a savings when she did this. Coordinated the Rose Show, which was a staple of the community. She completed an overall task study for administrative services, which is essential in helping us manage the operations in the administration department, and will become even more helpful in the future in working with Deanne, who will be our next executive secretary. She organized and reorganized files. She puts together the board packets. All of these things that I mentioned are really just the tip of the iceberg. Andy's probably thinking right now, that's really only a portion of what I do. And that's true, but the reason I put the list together is so that the folks here in this room can understand that the work that Andy does and is responsible for touches each and every one of our lives. So we've all read the rose clippings or the board briefs. We're reading the agenda tonight, and she makes sure that all of those things get done well. She covers all of the bases and keeps us on track. But while Andy's been here with the village, she has really done so much more than her duties and the tasks that I talked about. I can say that Andy has the biggest heart and genuinely cares about others. I think anybody that you talk to will say that that is the case. For this reason, we call her the heart of the organization or the heart of the administration department. Is the thoughtful person that I have ever had the privilege of working with. She goes above and beyond to light up other people's day. Absolute truth. Warm, she is smart, she anticipates. Sometimes I think she is omniscient or clairvoyant. It's scary. I don't know how she does it, but she is amazing. Andy has high standards, but above all else that she does, she is caring for others. She is caring for employees. She is caring for trustees, the consultants that work for this village and with this village. She is caring for the clerk's office, and she's caring for all of the employees that are appointed or work here. And she is absolutely caring and dedicated to residents. She has impeccable customer service skills, and that will be missed. I'd like to close by saying I feel blessed, honored to have worked with a professional of such high caliber, and a person of the highest quality, and I mean that, Andy. I will miss you, we will miss you, and I will miss your smile that greets me each and every day. Andy is someone who will ask you come Monday morning, how was your weekend, and she never misses a beat. Everything that you do, if you would please come up to the podium. We have a gift for you. I'll turn it over to the village president.
Andy, I was so upset that you were leaving, I started banging my head against the wall the other night. And I'm still banging it. First, the presentation from the village.
For you, because it has my engraving on it.
To Andrea Bagley, in appreciation of 11 years of valuable and dedicated service to the village of LaGrange Park. I think you're supposed to open it, Andy. Unforgettable.
I forgot.
Is you. Unforgettable. Come on. Well, it's not as beautiful as you, Andy. I just want to say a few words, Andy. I've been privileged the last 10 years not only to be in the position I'm in, but to have staff that we have here at LaGrange Park. But especially you. You've been here my whole time. Really, I can't say anything more than what we can sing if you want. But it's a privilege to have worked with you and to know you. You're a dear friend. When things got tough, Andy got tougher. But Julie was right. You had a smile on your face all the time. There was no task that any of us needed or wanted done that you weren't wanting to do, and you did it to the best of your ability, which was the tops all the time. Sitting with you, talking with you about village stuff, talking to you about movies, going to movies with your wonderful husband. It's just been a pleasure and a privilege, and we don't come across many people in our lives like you, Andy, and I want to thank you very, very much for all that you've given the village and what you've done for me. On behalf of the village board, we have a plant garden over there for you, and that's from each and every one of us. So just to show the little bit that we can to show our appreciation for you and all that you've done for us, and it will be everlasting. Thank you.
So I don't know that I can top what's already been said, but I wanted to take the opportunity to personally say thank you to Andy. You know, I've known you for the 3.5 years that I've been here, certainly not as long as some of the others, but I think I'm going to cry. You are truly, truly the kindest and most generous person that I've ever met. You inspire me to be a nicer, kinder, more thoughtful person. You know, I'll never forget. Look, I am crying. I'm sorry. I don't mean to make you tear up. But you know, when I was pregnant with my daughter for the last 2 or 3 months of my pregnancy, Andy stopped at Starbucks every day and brought me a chai tea because she didn't want me to have to make that extra stop in the morning. That's how thoughtful of a person she is. So I can't express enough how much I'm going to miss you, how much I enjoy coming to work every day because I get to work with someone like you. I know we have a wonderful person stepping in, but you have so defined the position and solidified your position here with us that really words cannot express how much we're going to miss you.
Best times. So hard to believe. It flew by so quickly. It really seems like only yesterday that I walked through the door and I heard this friendly voice asking, "Are you my new person?" That friendly voice turned out to be Sue, and we became great friends. I will miss everyone at the village, seriously. It has been my extreme pleasure working with each and every one of you. When I was first sworn in and given the opportunity to speak, I was just way too shy and overwhelmed by the board meeting process, and to say more than I couldn't say more than a mere thank you. As you can see, I've gotten over that. So many of life's changes have happened during my time at the village. My daughter got married, my grandchildren were born, my mom died, my mother-in-law died, 2 great dogs, and my best friend as well. So many well wishes, hugs, and beautiful cards. It made me realize that we are like a family. We spend so much of our waking time together. Thank you for all those much needed hugs. I feel like I've made few mistakes recently, and maybe it's like when your teenage children become unbearable to live with, and you are thankful they are college bound. Perhaps my recent mistakes will make my departure easier on those I'm leaving behind. I've had my share of bosses in my illustrious career. Some of them have been better than others. I can honestly say that I've so enjoyed working with Julie and Emily. They have taught me so much. Both of them are exceedingly patient and kind. Thank you. I really don't want to start naming people because I'm afraid of leaving someone out, and I wouldn't want to do that. All of you are special to me, the different boards I have worked with. Okay, I just have to name one person, President DeCipio. He is unfailingly generous and kind to all. Thank you. Okay, that's it. It's not goodbye. I will stop by from time to time. I know this is totally not politically correct, but I'm leaving and I'm a grandmother, so I can say that I love you all. Thank you for the pleasure of working here these past 11 and a half years.
Okay, next we have employee recognition. Julia?
Thank you again, Mr. President, members of the Village Board. Each year, the village recognizes the hard work of village employees. We do this in increments of 5 years. This year, we have 19 folks that we are recognizing. All of the employees whose names that I will call in just a moment, thank you for all that you do. It does not go unnoticed. You make this organization the quality village that it is, and I mean that. Thank you all. I will call your name, and when I do, if you could come on up to receive your certificate, I'll recognize your contributions to the village. On the list is Dave Hauer from the fire department. You here? No? Second person on the list, Jim Moldenhauer. Jim, I saw you earlier. There you are. Jim Moldenhauer. Jim Moldenhauer is getting married on Saturday. He is in the police department. He is a dispatcher for the village. He came to us in May 2009. The next person on the list, Rob Wearsbaugh. Rob's not here, is he? Okay. The next person on the list, I'm not sure I recognize this name, Andy Bagley in the administration department.
Yay.
As I mentioned earlier, Andy came to us in February of 2004. Thanks, Andy. The next person on the list is Diane Hull, who is a crossing guard for the village. Is Diane here? Moving along. The next person on the list I know is here, and that's Gary Moore in the Public Works Department. He's our water operator. Gary came to us in October 2004. Thanks, Gary. Next person on the list is Anna Slisa. Is Anna here? She is not here. Okay. The next person on the list, I saw her in the audience, Sue Breen, who is in our fire department. Sue's been with us for 15 years, since 1999. Thanks, Sue. The next person on the list is Ray Drexler. Is Ray here? No. The next person on the list is Joe Palika. Joe. Joe has been with us since January 1999, 15 years. The next, I think I know this next person very well. Next person on the list, Ed Rompa, who is our police chief. Congratulations to Chief. He's been with us since February 1999. The next person on the list is Becky Shrema, who works in our Public Works Department as our executive secretary over there. The next person on the list is John Strezzo, sergeant in the police department. Okay, we'll be sure to pass along that gift to John. Clarence Angion. Is Clarence here? No? Next person, Chester Loth. Is Chester here? No? We will pass along his award. Steve Norvilas. Is Steve here? No. Okay. Next person on the list, Allison Chorley. Okay, I've got one for you. Allison Chorley has been with us since January 1984. 30 years of service to the village. We have two more. Ted Tobias, he's a sergeant in the police department. Is Ted here? Oh, he's out in the hallway. That was good. I don't have a rear view mirror, so that was good. Thanks, Ted. And the last but certainly not least, Charlie Schooneman in the Public Works Department. Charlie's not here. Okay, well, that concludes the service awards. Thanks again for all the folks. Thank you.
We know where you are.
That's beautiful.
Okay, moving on, public participation. I think we had that already. Consent agenda, Amanda?
The items on this evening's consent agenda are as follows. A, approval of minutes, Village Board meeting, April 28th, 2015. Village Board executive session, April 28th, 2015. Work session meeting, May 12th, 2015. Village Board executive session, May 12th, 2015. B, Action West Suburban Public Safety Dispatch Consolidation Project, Lyons Township Area Communications Center. Motion to authorize the hiring of an executive director for the Consolidated Dispatch Center for the villages of LaGrange Park, LaGrange, and Western Springs, the Lyons Township Area Communications Center. And 2, approve a cost-sharing agreement for the new Consolidated Dispatch Center for the villages of LaGrange Park, LaGrange, and Western Springs, the Lyons Township Area Communications Center. C, action authorization to destroy executive session recordings. Motion to adopt a resolution authorizing the destruction of certain verbatim records of closed meetings. D, action motion to authorize the president and chairperson of the Finance Committee to sign the register for bills and authorize the treasurer and village clerk to sign checks and payment of operating bills and salaries as itemized in the check registers. E, action motion to authorize the village treasurer and village clerk to sign the checks and the payment of payroll and other bills that become due between this date and June 23rd, 2015, with subsequent approval of the payroll register and voucher register by the Board of Trustees at its regular meeting to be held on June 23rd, 2015.
Thank you, Amanda. Any trustee want to make a motion to move any items?
Mr. President, I would like to remove item number 9B to be placed under for discussion and action on the Public Safety Committee.
Second?
Any other comments from the board?
You can't discuss the motion. He said he was making a motion. You don't need a motion. It's automatically off.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda with removing item 9B and placing it in 14 under Public Safety Committee.
So moved.
Motion is second. Amanda, call the roll.
Trustee Messick?
Yes.
Trustee Rocco?
Yes.
Trustee Sheehan?
Yes.
Trustee Casera?
Yes.
Trustee Lautner?
Yes.
Trustee Zora?
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you, Amanda. Moving on, Village Manager's Report. Julia?
Mr. President, I have nothing to report this evening. Thank you.
Administration Committee, Trustee Lautner.
Thank you, Mr. President. This evening, I have 4 items to report on from the administration area for the village. First of all is regarding that there is no further mulch delivery for the year 2015. Throughout the year, the village offers free mulch to residents. Due to the popularity of this service, the village's supply of mulch for the year is completely depleted. Mulch is generated from the brush that Public Works crews pick up from May through October of the previous year. If you missed out on receiving mulch this year, please consider calling the Public Works Department in April 2016 in order to request mulch for next year's program. The second item is regarding the Bike Fest. The LaGrange Park Chamber of Commerce is sponsoring the 5th Annual Bike Fest event on Saturday, June 6th from 9 a.m. until 11 a.m. at the Village Market, which is located lower level behind Panera. This family-friendly event is free and open to kids from ages 3 through 12. It will feature an obstacle course, information on bicycle safety, visits from the village police and fire departments, and much, much more. Please strap on your helmets and ride your bike over to the village market for a fun-filled Saturday morning. Third item is regarding our exciting downspout disconnection workshop. We're encouraging the village to learn how to comply with the village's downspout disconnection ordinance at an upcoming workshop to be held on Saturday, June 13th from 10 a.m. until noon at the Village Hall. Receive information regarding the Downspout Disconnection Assistance Program, learn about various options for downspout disconnection. If perhaps you are skeptical, or if the residents are skeptical about performing this work, please come to this workshop for information on how to approach it. Sit in on the downspout disconnection training presentation and take advantage of the Q&A session with Project Coordinator Forrest Tucker. For details or more details on this, visit the village website at www.lagrangepark.org. And the last item is in search of a youth commission members. Our village currently is accepting applications from interested teens to serve on the village's youth commission. The youth commission is comprised of 10 young people in grades 7 through 12. Commissioners serve 1 or 2 years beginning on September of each year. Individuals interested in serving must complete an application and submit it to the village no later than June 19th. For more information on this program, please go to the village's homepage of the website or call Village Hall. And that concludes my report from the administration area, Mr. President, this evening.
Thank you, Trustee Lautner. Moving on, Building and Zoning Committee, Trustee Zora.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to report on the April 2015 activities. There were 89 building permits issued this past April compared to 93 issued in April of 2014. Year-to-date, 2 more permits have been issued compared to last year. The estimated construction costs for the month are 62% more than what they were in April 2014, while permit fees collected are 120% more than they were in 2014. There were 173 inspections conducted in April compared to 145 in last April. 19 were not approved. During the month of April, the building department staff continued to review and discuss the initial plans submitted for the Nazareth addition. Initial architectural plans were not approved and were resubmitted at the end of April. Also during the month, staff met in various groups to evaluate and discuss the status and process for the Downspout Disconnect program. The flow of the process for inspection, approval, and reimbursement was focused on and finalized. The program appears to be off to a great start. Early in the month of April, staff met with representatives of and contractors working for DK Living and Homestead Apartments to discuss another phase of an electrical upgrade project that is taking place. The fees for this portion of the upgrade were discussed, along with the process and timing for inspections. Nearly all electrical panels are being replaced for the individual living units over the next 2 months. And that is all I have to report.
Thank you, Trustee Zora. Engineering Capital Projects Committee, Trustee Casera.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have 3 items to report on this evening for the Engineering and Capital Projects Summary Report for April 2015. Suburban General Construction has initiated work on the 2015 sewer repair program. The repairs will continue into early May, spanning 2 fiscal years. This allows the village to realize the financial benefits of contracting for a larger project. There have been no service interruptions to residents and only minor roadway access limitations for brief periods, several hours. The Kemen Avenue resurfacing project from 31st Street to 26th Street contract has been awarded to Johnson Paving by the Illinois Department of Transportation. Construction is anticipated to commence on May 20th, with paving completed by the end of June. Landscape restoration may need to be postponed until early in the fall, depending upon weather conditions. Bids were also received on April 8th for the repaving of Cleveland Avenue from 30th Street to 26th Street by the village. The low responsible bidder was G&A Paving in the amount of $236,961.20. The Village Board approved entering into a contract for this work with G&A Paving at the April 28th meeting. Construction is expected to begin on May 26th and to be completed by late June. Interruption of roadway access will be limited to just the residents receiving replacement curb in front of the driveway, approximately 12 homes. And as with the Kemen Avenue project, final landscape restoration may need to be postponed until early fall, depending upon weather conditions. That concludes my report, Mr. President.
Thank you, Trustee Kucera. Public Safety, Trustee Messick.
Thank you, Mr. President. First, we have the monthly report for the Police Department, April 2015. Total crimes are slightly higher than reported last year during the same period. A total of 66 incidents were reported through April of 2015, compared to 63 during the first 4 months of last year. Traffic enforcement is slightly lower to 2014, with 1,806 citations being issued thus far, compared to 1972. There is a 9% difference. On an average, at this time frame through the past 5 years, the total number of citations written were approximately 1,500, indicating a 28% increase from previous years. Total police activity compared to last year, a total of 1,937 incidents have been reported to the department this year, compared to 2,217 during 2014. From the months of May through October, weather permitting, officers will complete 1 hour of foot patrol. Additionally, starting in the month of May, officers will be assigned to park detail, block party appearances, and will assist other special events throughout the community. Kim Knutson, and the new Executive Director of Consolidated Dispatch, LTACC, visited the Village of LaGrange Park for lunch, along with a meet and greet with staff on Friday, May 15th. The Traffic Safety and Engineering Committee will meet on Wednesday, June 10th at 7 p.m. And the Emergency Telephone Systems Board will meet on Friday, June 12th at 1 p.m. That concludes the Police Department activities. On to the Fire Department. EMS responses for this month are 141. There have been 536 year-to-date compared to 494 year-to-date in 2014. Fire and rescue incidents in April, 35. There were 146 year-to-date compared to 208 last year. During the month, personnel provided 2 fire truck rides to school activities. One included delivering the Brook Park principal to the school on the fire engine to help with a celebration for the job students did with their book fair. During the month, 2 of our personnel attended portions of the Fire Department Instructors Conference International event in Indianapolis. The training conference and exhibition hosted nearly 32,000 attendees from 55 different countries. There is myriad of some of the best fire service educational opportunities and speakers, a number of special events, and a display of the most modern and advanced fire protection equipment. Fire prevention and safety grants were completed and applied for during the month through the FEMA Assistance to Firefighters Grant Program, one for fire extinguisher training system and other for an emergency management guide to be developed for residents. It will most likely be several months until we hear anything on these awards. And that concludes the monthly reports. I do have one action item. At the June 2014 work session, the Village Board approved a resolution authorizing the village to proceed with the design phase of a consolidated dispatch center with the villages of LaGrange and Western Springs. More recently, at the September 23rd, 2014 board meeting, the board approved the proposal for professional services with GovHR associated with recruitment and selection of an executive director. In recruiting for the position, the 3 villages received 20 applicants and narrowed the candidate pool to 5 for police and fire chief personnel interview. From there, 2 finalists advanced to a second panel with the village managers and assistant village managers. Following the completion of the second panel interview, the candidate selected to fill the position is Kimberly Knutson. The decision was unanimous by each panel. Ms. Knutson is working currently with the Communications Director of the Village of Romeoville, where she oversees the agency's compliance with emergency medical dispatch with the Illinois Department of Health. Prior to her position in Romeoville, she served as the Director of Operations for the Police Communications Center at the Village of Bolingbrook. Ms. Knutson has experience as a board member of the Will County Emergency Telephone System and serves on the Technology, Finance, and Equipment Committee and the Personnel Committee. In the course of her career, she has been actively involved in numerous system enhancements, including 2 radio upgrades, upgraded CPU equipment, and recent cutover to a new CAD system. Her noteworthy accomplishments include the supervision of the construction of a new state-of-the-art 9/11 center, assisted in the implementation of countywide upgrade of the new CAD system, successfully designed and facilitated a standard training and compliance program, and finally and currently serves as the Secretary-Treasurer for the Illinois Emergency Telecommunications Response Force. Costs are in an attached memorandum providing for a sharing of costs related to the salary of $100,000 annually and the benefits of the new executive director, as well as any costs related to the project management phase and preliminary startup activities. The agreement also provides for the responsibilities and obligation of the startup committee as it relates to the oversight of the project management phase. At the time of the work session, the document was under review. It since has been done. The attorneys and staff from the 3 have confirmed there are no suggested changes to the document. And as a matter of follow-up, staff confirmed the plans are underway for Ms. Knutson's arrival, and her first assignment is the development of an implementation plan. As part of the plan, Ms. Knutson will begin the work necessary for the inventory, evaluation, and coordination of equipment, technology, and administrative processes for the Consolidated Dispatch Center. As part of the plan, she will facilitate the development and delivery of the estimated budget for the project management phase costs and the estimated budget for preliminary startup costs. These documents will be forwarded to the managers for review and approval, then reported to the boards. Under the cost-sharing agreement, Ms. Knutson will work in coordination with the startup committee, and progress reports will be provided on frequent and regular basis, weekly or biweekly. Costs incurred under the agreement will be shared equally, reported regularly, and billed quarterly. Any expense or purchase that exceeds the village manager's spending authority will go to the village board for approval. The cost-sharing agreement will terminate once an intergovernmental agreement between the 3 communities is approved. A draft IGA is largely complete and will be provided to Ms. Knutson upon her arrival for review. Once in good form, it will go to the village attorneys for a final review and then to each village board for their consideration. An updated project budget will be included in the IGA as an exhibit. So with all that behind, we've got, I actually have 2 motions. We'll start with the first one. I move to authorize the hiring of an executive director for the Consolidated Dispatch Center for the villages of LaGrange Park, LaGrange, and Western Springs, the Lyons Township Area Communications Center, or LTAC.
We have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Trustee Messick?
I am fully in support of this, Mr. President, especially when you can get, said the background of Ms. Knutson is very impressive, and when you get unanimous approval from all departments, all the chiefs and village managers, I would say this is a good hire, and it moves us down the path of saving money in these challenging times from these consolidation efforts.
Trustee Lautner?
Thank you, Mr. President. One question I have is, what's the current projected go-live date for this?
The end of this calendar year.
Okay, so it's still on track for that.
That's the goal.
That's the goal.
It may be changing or movable once she comes on board and has an opportunity to really evaluate and see what's needed in order to get us all up and running. But that's the goal that we have at this time, is the end of this calendar year.
Okay. Thank you.
No other comments by the board. Amanda, call the roll.
Trustee Messick?
Yes.
Trustee Rocco?
Yes.
Trustee Sheehan?
Yes.
Trustee Casera?
Yes.
Trustee Lautner?
Yes.
Trustee Zora?
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Continue, Trustee Messick.
Thank you, Mr. President. One final motion to approve a cost-sharing agreement for the new Consolidated Dispatch Center for the villages of LaGrange Park, LaGrange, and Western Springs, the Lyons Township Area Communications Center.
We have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Trustee Messick?
Again, this is, I'm in full agreement with this. This is part of sharing and consolidating our services. It's been fully investigated and vetted by all.
Trustee Rocco?
I'd just like to take this opportunity to just, thank staff for all the work and effort they've put into making this agreement in the process of moving forward. I know it's a lot of work entailed in getting it together, having 3 communities come to an agreement, and between the chiefs and the village manager and all the staff helping. This is a great opportunity for us to take upon, and thank you.
Any other comments? Seeing none, Amanda, call the roll.
Trustee Messick?
Yes.
Trustee Rocco?
Yes.
Trustee Sheehan?
Yes.
Trustee Casera?
Yes.
Trustee Lautner?
Yes.
Trustee Zora?
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you, Amanda.
That concludes public safety, Mr. President.
Thank you, Trustee Messick. I will make one comment. We have a unique village. We're very, very transparent. I think we're proud to say that our staff does a great job in giving us the information. I'd just like the board to know that the other villages did not bring this before their board. And it probably won't go until the IGA agreement is set in place. So I commend Julia and staff for doing due diligence and bringing the information to us and keeping us ahead of the ballgame. Thank you, Julia and Emily. Thank you. Okay, next up is Public Works Committee. Trustee Sheehan.
Thank you, Mr. President. The following is a report, Public Works Department for April 2015. 179 regular hours were spent on the maintenance of public works equipment and vehicles. Over 80 hours were spent delivering approximately 145 yards of mulch to residents. 249 hours were spent filling potholes, with approximately 22 tons of UPM. 202 day shift hours were spent on building and ground maintenance around the Village Hall, Public Works Facility, and along 31st Street. 179 regular hours were spent on the maintenance of Public Works equipment and vehicles. We read that already. The street sweeper cleaned over 247 miles of street during 112 hours and picked up 78 yards of debris. Various work orders were completed with crews removing roadkill, tree trimming, individual brush pickups, and making sign repairs. Various maintenance was performed on numerous vehicles. Water Department operations, over 291 day shift hours and 6 overtime man hours during the month of April were spent on maintenance and repairs of sewer and water mains. 34,720,000 gallons of water were purchased from the Brookfield North Riverside Water Commission. 1,264 water meters were read in Section 1. 50 monthly accounts and 14 final meter reads were taken. Various inspections, appointments, and service calls were performed. 15 water, bacterial, and quality Stage 2 samples were taken, and all samples passed. 152 utility locations were identified prior to excavations. 1 service line was repaired, and 2 Buffalo box repairs were also made. That concludes my report, Mr. President.
Thank you, Trustee Sheehan. And moving on, Finance Committee. Trustee Rocco.
Thank you, Mr. President. We've completed our fiscal year 2015, which began May 1st, 2014. The detailed revenue and expense report and the monthly cash investment are attached for your review to your packets. While the fiscal year ended April 30th, this is not the final report for fiscal year 2015. For the next 2 months, we will continue to accrue items payable or receivable by the village as of April 30th. These items will be reflected in the village's annual audit report issued later this year. Some of the highlights: fiscal year-to-date general fund revenues are at 102% of the budget and essentially flat compared to last year. Property tax revenue is down about over $68,000 due to unusually large refunds this fiscal year. Sales tax revenue is up about 7% from last year. Natural gas taxes are higher than the prior year, while electricity taxes are lower. Telecommunication tax receipts are over 18% lower, which includes the reduction due to a nationwide data plan lawsuit settlement. If we exclude the temporary reduction, telecom tax receipts are lower by about 9%. Permit revenue is up about 26% from last year and at 209% of the annual budget. Intergovernmental revenue is about 2% greater than last year due to increased receipts of the state shared use tax. Fine revenue is about 15% lower than the prior year, but near budget expectations. Total general fund expenditures are within expectations at 95% of the annual budget and about $1.2 million above last year. The increase is primarily due to the approximately $1.2 million budgeted transfer of cash reserves to the Capital Projects Fund. Based on current projections, the general fund is expected to end fiscal year 2015 in a stronger position than budgeted. Revenues have performed slightly better than expected, and overall expenditures are somewhat lower than budgeted. And then I have one action item to report, Mr. President. It's dealing with authorized signers for the village financial accounts. This purpose of this is to approve authorized signers for the village financial accounts. The village maintains accounts with several financial institutions for the purposes of depositing and investing in village funds, as well as utilizing general banking services such as checking for accounts payable and payroll. With the upcoming retirement of Andrea Bagley, our executive secretary, deputy village clerk, and the recent resignation of Chad Chevalier as village treasurer, it is recommended that the authorized signers for the village's financial accounts be updated. The two signatures are required on village accounts payable and payroll checks. Normally, those two signers are the village treasurer and village clerk. If either or both are unavailable, the finance director or deputy village clerk may sign. The updated list of authorized signers includes Deanne Carrello, who has been selected to fill the executive director, secretary, deputy village clerk position. With village treasurer position currently in transition, staff is recommending that assistant village manager Emily Rodman also be added as an authorized signer for backup purposes. The attached ordinance designates the village's currently approved financial institutions and lists the authorized signers for village accounts. The village's primary banking institution is FNBC Bank and Trust, formerly First National Bank of LaGrange. As part of the process to update the authorized signers on the village's accounts with FNBC, the attached resolutions require village board approval. Staff recommends the village board approval for the following motions for tonight. The first motion I have is to move to approve an ordinance designating village depository and financial institutions and authorized signers.
Second.
Second.
Motion is second. Trustee Rocco?
President Scipio, it would make sense that with the transitions that we have two alternative signers, and makes sense that it's Emily and Deanne.
Amanda, call the roll.
Trustee Messick?
Yes.
Trustee Rocco?
Yes.
Trustee Sheehan?
Yes.
Trustee Casera?
Yes.
Trustee Lautner?
Yes.
Trustee Zora?
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
And the second motion is specific to FNBC Bank and Trust. It's a motion I move to approve banking resolutions for FNBC Banking and Trust.
Second.
Motion is second. Any comments, Trustee Rocco?
Approve it for the same reasons.
Any comments? Amanda, call the roll.
Trustee Messick?
Yes.
Trustee Rocco?
Yes.
Trustee Sheehan?
Yes.
Trustee Casera?
Yes.
Trustee Lautner?
Yes.
Trustee Zora?
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
And that concludes my report, Mr. President. Just one item to add. I do also feel remiss in not also recognizing Attorney Keating in the contract process for the intergovernmental agreement, and thank you for all your work.
You are welcome.
Great point, Trustee Rocco. Okay, moving on, other reports, village clerk,
Nothing to report, Mr. President.
village treasurer pro temp, Mr. Noller.
Thank you, Mr. President. Per state statute, each May, the village treasurer is to provide a sworn statement to the pension board and the village board, reporting all monies received and paid out by the village on account of the pension fund during the year and of the amount of funds that are on hand and owing to the pension fund. As such, included in your packet is a copy of the April monthly report for the police pension fund. This is compiled by the accounting firm of Lauterbach and Amon. This is not the final auditor report, which the board will receive later this year, along with the annual actuarial evaluation. I can answer any questions if you like, but it's for information only.
Any questions from the board? Thank you, Mr. Noller.
Thank you.
Village engineer? No report, Mr. President. And our village attorney?
I have no report, Mr. President.
Motion to approve committee collectors' reports as presented.
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
I have a couple items. The first item is the commission appointments. Listed below are my recommendations for appointments and reappointments to various village committee commissions. We will go to think we'll do them as a group. For the ZBA, Carolyn Nash, Domagowski, and Christopher Stedwell reappointed to new 5-year terms expiring in 2020. Plan Commission, we're going to hold off on any new appointments at this point. Board of Police Commissioners, Don Ververka, reappointed to a 3-year term expiring in 2018. Police Pension Board, Christo Hay, reappointed to a new 2-year term expiring in 2017. And Emergency Telephone System, all current members reappointed. And Village Treasurer, we're still in the process of determining that position. So I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Any discussion? Amanda, call the roll.
Trustee Messick?
Yes.
Trustee Rocco?
Yes.
Trustee Sheehan?
Yes.
Trustee Casera?
Yes.
Trustee Lautner?
Yes.
Trustee Zora?
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
I want to thank the board, and thank you, Amanda. A couple other items. I attended the Veterans Wall inaugural Memorial Day ceremony on Sunday. Everything went well. They did a great job, and that's a great part of our community Memorial Park. And now with the Veterans Wall up, it makes it even more attractive. I attended the American Legion ceremony on Monday, and I'd like the board to know that we're having a strategic planning meeting tentatively scheduled for June 18th, and we're going to discuss roads and financial options at that meeting. I do understand that that may not be a good date for some trustees, Julia, so we may have to reconsider the date. And that's all that I have. Any public participation? Any new business? Yes, Trustee Sheehan.
Mr. President, I'd just like to take this opportunity to thank both chiefs, fire and police, and the first responders for an event that happened in the village on Friday, May 22nd. I would call it a life-saving event, so kudos to the chief and the first responders.
Any other new business? Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.